The way he angles his body, where he puts all of his body weight on his left hand and just extends just enough to just scrape the pylon. Those are the plays that decide Super Bowls. That's why every single time, I always talk about it, guys, at the beginning of the season, if the team is just good enough around Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to pick the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. That isn't something that should just be done every week. No one in the history of football makes plays like this every week outside of Patrick Mahomes.
I want to thank all the talking heads and all the doubt. Yep. Keep it coming. Like, all it does is anytime you can give petty Mahomes the motivation, bro, I'm all for it. That's why I was excited when, all these people were saying these things. It's like, bro, let's go.
Yeah.
If I'm feeling boosted and juiced by it, can you imagine what he's feeling?
Are we going?
Yep.
We are live, therefore it is time. It is the Chattin of the Chiefs post-game show. I am your host, Lance Twidwell, with my co-host, Trevor Twidwell.
What's good?
You guys will do me a solid real quick and just let me bask in this 10-second moment of glory, if you guys will. I know if you guys are doing this or not yourselves, I think I literally died, so I'm going to have to hold an L on this. Trevor used the last of the juice. I'm going to have to just enjoy this stogie without it being lit because, guys, we are now looking at the Chiefs in the divisional round. The Chiefs are now advancing to the divisional round after absolutely doing what I expected the Chiefs to do, which was to dominate their opposition tonight. If you guys follow us on the Spoken Podcast, and first and foremost, thank you so much for being here with us tonight because we are really excited. We should be having our guy Vaughn Booker, 9-year NFL veteran. Vaughn Booker will be joining us in just a minute. But you know what, guys? I wanted to talk about this because this win is something that I think is very special for what this season has been. It's been a long, grueling, kind of tiring season. And for the Chiefs to go out there and put a beat down on a team despite only scoring 2 touchdowns is something that I think is worth celebrating. Thank you, Trevor, for doing that.
Of course. I can't be doing it myself, man. Let's go.
So we're gonna crisp this up. If you guys have anything you're smoking, no judgments whatsoever. Trust me when I say it doesn't have to be a cigar. If you guys have anything you guys want to smoke it with us real quick.
Smoking on that Cheetah Pack, number 2. Tastes so good.
It needed to be said.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Tastes right.
Tastes sexy.
Yeah. Tastes like a W.
12th playoff victory in the Patrick Mahomes era. He is now tied with Aaron Rodgers for, I think it's the 5th or 6th most postseason victories. Chiefs win this game 26-7. I told you guys, and like I said, I don't know if you guys already follow our show. We're double dipping here today, Trevor.
Double dip.
Trevor and I had a show earlier today called The Spoken Podcast. If you're not following that, I don't know what you guys are doing because we're having a blast every single Saturday at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time. But Trevor and I had our prediction show, and something I said when it came to this matchup was I was very confident, despite the fact the Chiefs have had their offensive woes this season, they dominate teams like the Dolphins, and in particular, the Dolphins. They have been able to show early and often in games against this team this season that they dominate the line of scrimmage, they out-physical them, and coming into this matchup, knowing what the weather was going to be like, understanding what the Chiefs have been doing over these last couple of weeks, how they've been feeling better about themselves, and that's what I started our show off this morning about how the vibe has changed. After that Bills loss, I started to question whether this team really had what it took to be a Super Bowl contender. And then you saw once they started to cut ties with Kadarius Toney and not play him as much. And you know what? Speaking of a pro player, I think we have our guy.
Got a guy Book in here.
Mr. Book, let's make sure we have his audio set up because, man, we're just going tonight, man. This is an absolute blast. We told him to get his stogies ready. I don't know if he has a stogie or not. Hopefully he does because we're ready to celebrate tonight. Can you
get that switched here real quick? Gotcha. Can you hear us, Book?
I can hear you guys. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear
Yes,
you loud
sir.
and clear, brother. Book, we're so happy to have you.
Let me start off by saying I don't have a cigar because
Come on.
Hey, well, I've been smoking
I like that. No, like we said, no judgments. Anybody that's watching or listening to this right now, no judgments whatsoever on what you guys are smoking. Because, like I said, it's a great night to be smoking on a cheetah pack, like we said. Book, how the hell are you feeling tonight, baby?
First of all, let me say this again. Man, look, I love our fans and whoever is watching us and share our channel. I love all that. But I'm going to tell you this. I feel so good that the Chiefs won. I'm ecstatic. For real.
Yeah.
I know the temperature really played a part of it. We'll get into that later. I know you guys will do that. But I just want to be like, hey, I'm happy that we won.
Yep. It's you and me
playoffs. Both. We get the playoffs. Your schedule what you had before, it don't mean that. We all 0-0. Let's start now.
New season. It's a new season.
I told Trevor at the end of the game, towards the end of the game, that no matter how many of these we get in the Mahomes era, I never want to take for granted a playoff victory. And I'm so glad the book you started off your take tonight with that very take, because I was prepping this as you jumped in, man, that coming into this show earlier today, Trevor and I did the show earlier, and I was talking about how I was so confident the Chiefs were going to dominate this matchup because the Dolphins just match up terribly with the Chiefs because of all of the Dolphins' strengths is where the Chiefs can counter with their strengths. The Chiefs have such a sound defense at all three levels, and now what they've done in 2 games, and I put these numbers down on purpose, man, because I wanted to talk about this in particular, because one of the major positives of tonight's game is the defense continues to be dominant. The Dolphins finished the season second in scoring, and the Chiefs' defense held them to 21 total points through 8 quarters of play. Not to mention, held them to 4 of 24 on third downs combined through both games. 4 of 24. The Dolphins through 2 games only converted 4 third downs against this defense. See, the thing people got to understand about this is that this Dolphins offense is really, really freaking good. They have great running games. They have a really good offensive line. Tyreek Hill is the most special wide receiver in football. Jalen Waddle is awesome. Durham Smythe's a good tight end. Like, they have good pieces around Tua Tagovailoa. Not to mention Mike McDaniel. Yeah, not to mention Mike McDaniel being one hell of an offensive guy.
Yeah.
And yet this Chiefs defense is dominated not once but twice. And this is what I saw coming into this game tonight, was that the Chiefs were going to make a statement in this game. Now, I would have loved to see the Chiefs score more touchdowns. I had them scoring 30 points, but 26 is close enough, especially when your defense is playing as great as they did tonight. And boy, did this defense play amazing football, man. And this is a Super Bowl caliber defense. And that's what I wanted to start with first and foremost, guys, because there was a lot of positives to take from this game, but it has to start with this defense because the defense is what's been carrying this Chiefs team through all season long. Through the inconsistencies on offense, through all the frustrating times, this defense has stayed consistent. I thought it was so funny that Good Morning Football's Kyle Brandt said this week that, well, the game plan's simple. The Dolphins just got to go score 30 points and they're going to win this game because the Chiefs can't keep up. They scored 1 freaking touchdown the entire game. They converted one third down all game. That's a problem for the Dolphins, man. And so people want to simplify the matchup with the Chiefs because they don't score like they did in 2018. But what people fail to realize is this is the most complete team that Patrick Mahomes has had. And like we all talked about after that Bills game, we're all going to sit here and talk about it. We said that this team, as it's currently standing, is not a Super Bowl caliber team because at that time they weren't. I will stand by that. I will stand by that forever and say that this team was not playing like a Super Bowl caliber team. But what did they do? They put Sky Moore on the IR. They have not been playing Kadarius Toney. MVS is getting less and less snaps. And what has happened? All of a sudden, Rashee Rice is emerging. All of a sudden, Justin Watson's taking those snaps. All of a sudden, guys are open on the field. Now, we do have to talk about some of this stuff that the offense is struggling with, but again, I want to start with the positives here, guys, and we have to start with Patrick Mahomes, because we know that if this team's going to win a Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes has got to be awesome. And I thought Patrick Mahomes was awesome tonight. His numbers don't look as good as they should have, but that's because there was a ton of drops in this game. Travis Kelce alone had 3. So that was a struggle that we needed to see the team shake up from. But what we saw is Patrick Mahomes was throwing the ball on the money all night. He was composed, and he was utilizing his legs. I swear, when it's the postseason, he turns into Patrick Vick. He had 41 rushing yards, had that big 29-yard rush automatically just took this offense to the next level for a defense like the Dolphins that clearly did not want to be there because of this weather and just the fact that Chiefs were playing a physical style of offense and Isaiah Pacheco was just running all over them. You could tell that Patrick Mahomes doing that just broke their back and broke their soul. So we had to start there. Patrick was phenomenal. I thought that Travis Kelce overall had a good game. I thought he was fine. I didn't think he had his greatest game, but 10 targets, 7 catches, 71 yards. I thought he was solid. Three drops is inexcusable, but when you are a player at that magnitude, we can let it slide because of the fact that he, more times than not, will be great. But guys, Book, Trev, Rashee Rice has become a star in front of our eyes. I still believe this dude's going to be a high-end wide receiver too, and maybe I'll be wrong. But what this kid does with the ball every single week, his first postseason catch was an 11-yard touchdown. Rashee Rice's first postseason game, he has over 100 receiving yards. He's the first Chiefs rookie wide receiver to have 100 yards in a game since Elmo Wright in 1971.
130 receiving yards.
130 receiving yards in his first. So it wasn't just the first rookie to ever do it in a postseason game. It was his first postseason game ever of his career, and he's already out here shining bright. So we've got to give this kid a ton of respect. We've got to give him all the praise for what he's been able to do in this offense because he has been the absolute difference maker. You're seeing what one good wide receiver can do in this offense. Wait until we see this next season when they have multiple because that's what's going to happen. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, guys, because we need to bask in this victory. That's why we're sitting here with Stogies. That's why Book is sitting here feeling good about himself because this defense, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Rashee Rice, and Pacheco to his own credit, really carried the load tonight, played an efficient game overall. And it's funny, too, because the game started with a back-to-back incompletions, 3rd down and 10. You're like, shit. Here we go again, man. This offense is going to be clunky tonight. Yep. This is going to be terrible. I even said something funny. I thought it was funny, at least. So if you guys don't laugh, then you guys go screw yourselves. But I said that at halftime, I put this tweet out here, and it got some decent feedback. But I was saying that the offense needs to change Harrison Butker needs to change his number because the Chiefs offense clearly has a different idea of what finishing drives with 7 means. Because for whatever reason, this offense just does not like to score a lot of touchdowns when it gets in the red zone. They just rely on Harrison Butker finishing these drives with 3 points. That's obviously not going to be something they can be able to sustain, even with a great defense going deeper into the postseason when they face tougher opponents. That's something we'll have to discuss as the next round comes about. But tonight, we sit here, we enjoy it, and I'm enjoying it. Book, I know you watched this game. I know you were excited about this. The Chiefs win a game. We can sit here and bask in it. But what were a couple things, man, that you took away from this game that were the ultimate positives? Obviously, Rashee Rice was awesome. Running game looked effective. What did you see from the offensive line? What did you see from the defensive line? What were some things that maybe other people may not have noticed, but you being a former player, you kind of picked up on a little bit that is a good sign for the Chiefs moving forward?
Hey, right now, I just want to interject for a second and say, Trev, I am very interested in hearing your point of views on the exact same thing what Lance just asked me. I would love to hear you say it. Go first for me.
I got you, man.
You know what I'm saying? One, you ain't got to keep following me. This y'all show. Y'all brought me in.
You're being too humble here, bro. You're being way too humble here. You're the star of the show here. We're just trying to hang out, you know?
I'm not the star of the show, guys. I really appreciate you guys having me. It's fun for me.
Hey, you're Vaughn motherfucking Booker, baby.
That's what I'm saying. Put some respect on Book's name.
As long as you accept me how the fuck I come.
Let's go. Let's go, baby.
Right?
Absolutely.
Right? That's why we do it.
Yeah. Huh? So Book's
this ain't on NBC. We're not breaking any laws.
Yeah, you don't need a paywall to watch Chatting Up the Chiefs. You don't got to get on Peacock. We're for free, baby. We're just chilling, you know.
I see 88 people watching this right now. I know 78 of them. It's Bookers. I'm just fucking with y'all.
No. Hey,
I'm picking up what you're putting down,
babe. Hey, Book hands it off to. Hey, Book. No. You're good. No, so Book hands it off to Trevor. Let's go ahead and let's get this. What did you see from this game, Trevor? Some of the keynotes that I was talking about here, man.
Listen, I know you talked about you made your point about Butker, about us settling for field goals and how he needs to change his number. It's a funny tweet, but I think it's actually a good thing that we did tonight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think if we would have taken field goals instead of trying to force in plays, and when things got tight in the red zone, a lot of these games during this year, and we took field goals, just took the points and relied on our defense to do their job like we did tonight, I think we would have won a lot more games. That's crazy to say.
Yeah.
Say taking the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands, typically you don't want to do that, but it's just what we did tonight. We scored on damn near every possession we were down. Every time we got down the red zone, we at least got points.
Yeah.
Right? And we relied on our defense to do their job, and our defense was just outside of one freak play that kind of broke cover. Trent McDuffie got kind of burnt, and we didn't have a safety over the top for help. Outside of that one play to Tyreek, who scored on that touchdown, good for him. We shut their asses down all night. They were scoreless for 3 other quarters outside of that one score. So it was impressive to see us just take our points, do what we needed to do, and let our defense do their side of the ball. We ran the ball over 30 times tonight.
Yeah.
And Pacheco had 89 rushing yards on 23 carries and a touchdown. Clyde had 3 key first downs tonight. Had that fumble towards the end, which it doesn't really matter. No one's going to remember that.
There's 0 points that came of it.
Clyde made some good plays tonight.
Yeah.
He had a couple tough carries and carried people to the sticks and got that first down on a couple of those carries, and had a nice catch for a first down as well. So I think the little things is what won this game tonight. And Patrick Mahomes was sharp in this nasty weather, cold weather. That wind was swirling down there. Patrick was sharp, man. Patrick was putting outside of Kelsey dropping the ball. Kelsey had 3 drops in the first half, man. That was rough to see.
Yep.
One of them could have been a touchdown. So I'm impressed, man. I'm impressed with everything I saw tonight overall. I think we played a clean game. We nothing looked really. There was no shakiness to this offense. We didn't look timid in any way. Patrick wasn't second guessing himself. He was out there dealing and throwing darts.
It felt like they were in rhythm.
Patrick looked like vintage Pat after extended plays with his legs, running the ball when he needed to. He almost got a rushing touchdown. He got hit a little short before that. He got that one in there, but Patrick looked as confident as I've seen him all year long. Andy Reid was drawing up some good plays, getting guys in space. Rashee Rice getting in space. If we could continue to find him in space and create those kind of plays for him and letting him eat after the catch, the kid is incredible, man. 130 yards and should have had 2 touchdowns. Had one kid taken back on honestly a terrible call.
Yep.
I think for that block in the back.
That's
in my
actually
opinion.
what I want to segue to, because I think this is the thing that makes me the most nervous about the Chiefs moving forward in the postseason. And I had a theory here, Book. So if you have a take on this when I explain it, feel free to jump in, or Trevor, either one of you guys or both. But we all remember the quote unquote controversial penalty that happened in the Super Bowl when Juju Smith-Schuster was held by James Bradbury, and we saw the pull. We saw that it was clearly a holding on the 3rd down. The Chiefs extend the drive, end up scoring a touchdown. Chiefs win the game. Everybody focused on that play. It feels that ever since that play took place, officials have been afraid, or rather hesitant, to call penalties that favor Chiefs receivers. It feels that way sometimes. I'm not saying that is what it is, but it feels like ever since that the Chiefs really have not been getting the benefit of the doubt. And we saw multiple times in this game McColl getting pulled downfield. We saw DPIs on Richie James. We saw I think it was on Justin Watson or somebody else down the field. But we saw 3 or 4 instances in this game alone, and we've been seeing it throughout the season, where the Chiefs just do not get those calls like we see every other team get. And Book, I'm honestly just at a loss of words here, man, because I feel like those are the kinds of things that can decide games if and when you get in a close battle between you and another worthy opponent. Are you seeing the same thing I'm seeing on that, man? Because it's starting to bother me a lot, man. Did Book hear me on that one?
No, I heard you. You
Okay.
I'll be like on mute. I had to hit it as the delay.
Sorry.
First of all, I want to say, and that's exactly why I wanted Trevor to go before me.
Gotcha.
I mean, seriously. I mean, he hit all the points. You know what I'm saying? And I agree with almost everything he said. My thing is this, and I'm not going to forget the question you just asked me, but right now, my thing is this. I thought we played really okay. You know, for us to have 2 weeks to prepare for this because we didn't play anybody last week. Really, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So
It was,
for us-
yeah.
For this to be now we're in a playoff, so we're like, whatever tricks you got up your sleeve, you bring them out now. It's like one and done. So for us to have 2 weeks, come out with this performance, thank God we won. I'm very happy we won. I was at the bar across the street talking so much crap, dog. Like, for real.
Yeah.
Like, I was able to leave, like, at the beginning of the fucking fourth quarter. Like, I live across the street.
He said.
And I'm home.
That's a nice little luxury to have.
Hey, I'll text you. I was like, hey, man, I might be a few minutes late, but I was right on time.
You're right on time, man. You're right on time.
But
no, like, go ahead, Book. Go ahead.
Answer that question.
No, but as far as, like, our team, man, I thought defense, we didn't do nothing spectacular in comparison of what we expect from them on a regular. I think they played at, like, a 57% of what we expected them. You know what I'm saying? Offensively, I really thought we were going to come out here and, like, show us something. We had 2 weeks. People been hurt. These guys are healthy. Show me something that's going to make me feel good. Knowing that I was very confident that we're going to win this game, show me something that's going to make me feel good about whoever we play next week. Not because I was trying to get already there. I felt pretty good about this game. I'm not going to even lie. Especially when the weather played in. It was like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
But that's where I'm at. I'm sorry if I didn't get to your question.
No, you're fine. You're fine, man. No, you're fine. We'll hand it back off to Trev. And Trevor, what did you see from an officiating side? You and I watched this game together. I think we both expressed the same emotions in the middle of the game. Now that you've had a second to kind of just take a step back, I mean, is this something you're a little concerned about? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm very concerned about it, man.
I mean, it would depend on if I knew, this was going to be the crew that we, moved forward with, because we did get a couple breaks. There were some, they gave us those roughing the passer calls, so it was good to see that, because honestly, Pat very rarely gets those.
Right.
He got 2 tonight. So I'll take that. That's a silver lining, if you will.
But both those were blatant.
Sure. That's what I'm saying. But we've seen some blatant ones this year where we didn't get.
That's true.
And so it's good to see Pat get those. In the playoffs, I think they tend to give those to quarterbacks even more. So it makes sense. But yeah, I mean, the lack of DPIs, the PI calls that were just kept in the pocket, that was frustrating. Honestly, it kept us from blowing them out even more. We should have had 30 plus. I mean, we would have set those DPIs would have set us up for more field goals or touchdowns tonight. So I mean, it is a cause for concern, but at the same time, next game is a new game, probably a new crew. But if it's something that we think is these refs want to swallow their whistle or keep those flags in their pockets because they don't want the Chiefs to be looked at as the golden child of the league or whatever, I think that's I think that's a way to think it, because we're Chiefs fans. We kind of see it that way. But at the same time, there was a lot of swallowed whistles and a lot of flags kept in the pockets throughout this whole season against us, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of penalties we didn't get. Obviously, the MVS lack of call in Philly, and a lot of things that didn't go our way. And, I'm just glad we didn't do anything to shoot ourselves in the foot tonight. We kept it clean. Outside of that late, meaningless turnover by Clyde tonight, we kept the game clean. Patrick was putting the ball where it needed to go. No tip errant passes. No tip drills from any of the receivers. Travis Kelce had one that was kind of close. He kind of tipped it. But outside of Travis Kelce dropping the ball, everyone looked sharp. Everything was going good. Rashee Rice, honestly, he's had numerous good games this year, but this was his breakout game.
Yeah.
He broke out in his first playoff game.
Yeah.
His first catch in this game and his first catch in the playoff game was a touchdown. The kid's broken out. This is his. He's putting the league on notice right now in this offense. Let's just be real right now. I know you say he might be the wide receiver too. Maybe not.
Well, that's the thing, is that I think what I mean by that is, obviously I think he's got wide receiver 1 talent. The problem is you see teams like the Rams.
But as far as production,
the Rams, like obviously Puka Nacua is viewed as the wide receiver 2, but what he is just a second wide receiver 1.
Sure.
So maybe Rashee becomes that.
Sure.
Where the Chiefs go and get another stud, and then there's 2 wide receiver 1s, like 35-year-old Travis Kelce, who can still very much be productive, and you go and have a couple of other pieces around those guys. Yeah,
but as far as the officiating, there was some bad calls. I didn't like the call on Taylor when he got pushed in the back and he ended up falling into that defender, and they called it a block in the back, which it had no bearing on the play. Rashee Rice already burnt that guy. He had no chance of making that tackle on Rashee Rice. It was going to be a touchdown nonetheless.
Right. And the contact was created because of the inertia that
he
was
got
caused
pushed
by
in the back, and then he ended up falling into the defender, and it looked like a block in the back maybe from his angle, but that should have been picked up, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That was a bad call. I did not like that. That was probably my least favorite call, even outside of the no calls or the no call on the DPIs or the PIs. I can live with the non-PIs if they keep it on both sides.
Yeah.
Which they did give us on a couple of those. That's what it made me upset. We got called for a couple of defensive pass interferences. But overall, man, I don't think any calls really affected the game that much. I think the Chiefs were just in total control of this game pretty much from the jump. You know what I mean? So I don't think there was nothing too concerning for me on that. But it kept us from scoring north of 30, if you will.
And I'll say this because I think, Trevor, you guys would agree with me on this. This was a game that if the Chiefs were going to have an efficient game on both sides of the ball, it would have to be tonight. Because the Dolphins, let's be honest here, not just the fact they're from a warmer part of the country with Tua, who's never probably spent a day in his life in an area that it's under 20 degrees, but it's also the fact of all the injuries that were tallied up. The motivating factor of having Tyreek Hill coming back to town. And outside of Tyreek Hill's 153-yard touchdown, which was just a broken play, I don't know what Spags was thinking on that one with no safety help at the top.
I think there was just some confusion.
Outside of that 53-yard play, though, the first half, the Dolphins only had 83 yards of offense. So the Chiefs absolutely capitalized and kept a downed opponent down. If this was a close game, if the Chiefs would have won this game, let's say like 14-7, I'd be really concerned moving forward.
Shit, we could have scored 14 and just called it a night, though.
Well, what I'm saying though is that the Chiefs had a bye week essentially this last week, and we saw this team start to feel better about themselves after the Bengals win. That's the game that I felt like things were really starting to connect with this team about who the hell are we and what are we going to be when we get to the postseason.
Right.
That game kind of showed me that this team's kind of getting back into their rhythm.
Bro, we looked confident as hell tonight.
Yes, and then you see the way they started acting like when the backups were getting their things, when Chris Jones got his sack and got his $1.2 million. I'm thinking, okay, you're feeling good about yourselves. You guys get a week off essentially. You better show it on the field no matter what the weather looks like. You got to go out there and beat this opponent down. That's why I had the Chiefs winning by 17 points originally. And what do you know? They win by even more than I expected them to, even though they scored fewer points than I expected them to, because this defense is the fucking shit, man.
Elite, baby.
And I'm looking at the way that this team's playing right now. And I'm talking about right this second. I'm not talking about the last month, half the season. I'm talking about what actually matters. Where they are mentally, offensively, and defensively, and in special teams. And I feel like this right now, Trevor, because of the Browns losing, and I was really wrong on that team.
Man.
I'm telling you right now, I think the Chiefs are the scariest team in the AFC playoff picture. Because of the fact that this team now has their focus back. Because they look like an efficient team. Are they flawed? Yeah. We talked about this ad nauseum this morning. This team has flaws at the wide receiver room. This team has flaws at tight end right now because Travis Kelce's not playing his best football. But if his not best football is 7 catches for 71 yards, count me in. Yeah. If this running game can play the way it's playing and Patrick can extend drives with his feet, and this defense is playing at an elite level better than any other defense right now in the postseason, sign me up for that. I think this team, they play like this, something close to this, even with the red zone inefficiencies at times, but locking up the field goals, can beat anybody.
We just did this to the best offense in the AFC this year. This was the second highest scoring offense in the NFL.
Hello.
So, I mean, I don't know what else you need to say to that. Yeah, of course our defense is going to shut any of these other offenses down.
No,
I don't care if it's the Ravens. I don't care if it's anybody else. I mean, if they can play like this consistently, I agree. The cold definitely helps.
Yes.
But our offense moved just fine.
And Book, we got to get you on this one real quick, man, because I know that you have been somebody that's not been afraid to criticize Juwan Taylor, criticize the tackle play because it's been fair. The tackles have struggled this year. Donovan Smith, when he was healthy originally, didn't play his best and got hurt. Wanye Morris stepped in. The running game got a little better with Wanye Morris. Wanye Morris goes out with a concussion. Back comes Donovan Smith. I feel like Donovan Smith and Juwan Taylor overall tonight gave really good protection, gave ample protection for Patrick Mahomes to get the ball downfield. He felt comfortable. You could tell that Patrick felt a little comfortable in the pocket tonight. Now, granted, the Dolphins had a bunch of retirees out there playing. Justin Houston signed 4 days ago. Melvin Ingram out there with his beer gut out there trying to rush the passer. I feel like this is the game. If you're going to have a game where you look good as an offensive line, it better be tonight. So what did you take away from that, Book? Did you see that? Did you feel like the offensive line as a whole was impressive?
Definitely. I think they held up. Unfortunately, Juwan Taylor name still came up.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I'm saying? So
he did have that nasty false start.
Yeah, it's always something with this guy. And I don't mean it. If I have anything to do with his career, I'm not meaning to hurt his career. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not that guy, but
he'll be all right.
When your name keep coming up time after freaking time after freaking time, even the most minuscule part of your whole season, you had one thing today. That was the most all season. Man, if you do this to your girlfriend.
Man. Well, and Book, I want to say. I'm done. No, you're good. You're good. I want to say this. I want to say this too. In addition to what I'm saying as a follow up when it comes to the Chiefs matching up with anybody left in the AFC, because C.J. Stroud terrifies me from the Texans, and I think he right now is a top 5 quarterback in the league, and I say that with all conviction. I think he is showing that he's for real as a rookie. Thank you. And D'Amico Ryan's a rookie head coach, is showing that this man is legit. This man's a real head coach in this league, and should have been probably a head coach even long ago that he got a job this last year. My point is, I'm not certain that the Chiefs are going to face another team, at least until the Super Bowl, that has as many weapons as the Dolphins do. And the Dolphins got absolutely shut down again by the Chiefs. Like I said, 2 games, 21 points, 4 third down conversions. This Chiefs defense is all 3 levels can shut down an offense. We've seen L'Jarius Sneed single-handedly shut down wide receiver ones.
I love that guy.
We're seeing these linebackers flying all over the damn field. Open field tackles from Drew Tranquill, Nick Bolton blitzing up the middle, efficient pressures. Even when they're not knocking the quarterback down, they're getting in his face and disrupting his rhythm. Look, man, they're going to face better quarterbacks. Maybe even as soon as this next week if they face Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. But what do we know about Josh Allen? We know that when you pressure this man, he makes bad decisions and will turn the ball over. What if by some crazy circumstance the Steelers win this game next week or on Monday and the Chiefs get the Texans? You're going to be facing a badass in C.J. Stroud, but again, he's still a rookie. Steve Spagnuolo's got 20-plus years of experience to utilize against a young, I wouldn't say unproven quarterback, but a young quarterback that could have a bad game here or there. And I think if I'm lining up this defense against any quarterback in the AFC, Lamar, Josh Allen, anybody you want to throw my way, I'm betting on this defense. Sure, they probably won't hold them to 7 points. But would it be crazy to you guys if, let's say, the Chiefs are in the AFC Championship facing the Ravens or the Texans, and it's 20-17 going into the fourth quarter? Would it shock anybody? No, it wouldn't shock me at all. In fact, it would shock me more if it was more than that. Because this defense on a consistent basis, it is now 34 games the Chiefs have given up. In their last 34 games, they've given up there's been one time where they've allowed more than 30 points. 34 games! That is 2 whole seasons. One time they've allowed 30-plus points.
That's crazy, man.
And it was in the Super Bowl against the Eagles, who had a loaded offense, and that was before this defense was what it is now.
Just score 30 against the Chiefs, right?
Yeah, it's just that simple. It's just that simple. Not that simple. And like I said, this was one of the most talented offenses coming into the postseason, if not the most talented offense, and they got shut down all night. So I'm looking at this, guys, and I, Trevor, I told you on the show earlier today, that 180 is starting to tilt, man. I'm almost all the way there.
I'm with you.
In fact, I think I'm there. I'm just gonna go put it out there in the chat. Book, you're going to hear this right now. I've gone full homer. I think the Chiefs are going to represent the AFC champion. I think the Chiefs are going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. I've gone full tilt because of the fact that they are answering the questions that I have been asking. Are you going to be able to have a wide receiver that can make plays? Sure, McCole Hardman messed up a couple times. We're seeing him beat man defense. That alone is going to make a defense respect his side of the field. He can make those gimmicky plays. Rashee Rice is turning into a legitimate star in this league. This offensive line is providing Patrick Mahomes protection. If they keep that going, he's going to find the open man. And if there are open men out there that he trusts, he's going to throw them the ball. And he's gaining that much more trust with Rashee Rice. He already has it with Travis Kelce. I think those good times are going to keep rolling.
Rashee Rice is averaging 16.3 yards per catch, bro.
That's Justin Jefferson.
That is better than Justin. I think that's the best in the league right now. Right. As far as that's just, and he led the league in yards after catch.
Yes.
This kid's he's no longer, man, the kid is broken out. He's no longer a rookie. This kid is a star in the making in this offense. He's a perfect kind of guy. When he catches that ball, he runs like a running back. That's how Tyreek was. That's the kind of guys that Andy Reid likes. Is the kind of guys that thrive in this kind of offense. He can stay healthy, man, the rest of this way. It's going to be a tough matchup for any defense we face the rest of the way, man.
Now, again, Book, this offense is going to have to get better in the red zone. I like the fact that they can rely on Butker, but I do believe that there's going to come a point where the defense is going to need to be picked up here and there. The defense is going to have maybe a bad drive here or there against a Josh Allen Bills or a C.J. Stroud's Texans or a Lamar Jackson's Ravens. There's going to be a bad drive here or there. the offense is going to have to pick them up. So scoring drives, man, they're going to have to do what they did at the beginning of this game where they drove down that damn field and they scored a touchdown early, man. Getting Rashee Rice, those shallow slant patterns they put Rashee on, it almost feels like every time he does that, something good comes up.
Just get the kid in space.
Just get him in space. Those little shallow crossers, man. Those shallow crossers, he'll get 13 to 25 yards on those, man. And with the run game that they have, it just feels like all of a sudden this offense is just opening up. And here we are for the 5th straight season where we're sitting here going, the Chiefs are going to do this damn thing, aren't they? They were going to get to the damn Super Bowl. What I'm saying is, guys, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong here, Book, and I want to get your response. Does it feel like the tide has turned? Because, like I said, we were all sitting here at this very same show just a few weeks ago and talking about how this team just mentally won't get out of their own damn way. And because of that, I have legitimate concerns about this team being able to be a Super Bowl caliber team. Has that changed for you? Because it has changed for me.
It's changed for me also. Let me tell you this. I remember a couple of weeks ago when we were like, man, we're done. You know what I'm saying? We're like, everything that could go wrong did go wrong for us that particular week. But coming into the playoffs, I felt really, really good about it because we didn't have to play last week. We rested a lot of players. I thought we were going to show up more than what we did today. I knew, and I was so confident that we had the greatest chance of winning the game. I knew our defense was going to be there for us. They didn't have to do anything special, because we didn't put in that position to where like they had to do something special.
Right.
Our defense shows up more often when it's time to show up than almost any defensive line in the NFL. Like if it ever came down to like, oh my gosh, this is our last chance. We need somebody to come and do something. We got a Chris Jones. We got a Snead. Yep. You know what I'm saying? We got a Bolton. These
McDuffie.
Guys, yeah, McDuffie, they make plays when it's time to make that play. I'm speaking on defense because that's what I know more than anything.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Our offense today for me did good. I just expected more. And I keep saying that. I expected more. Everybody did what they wanted to do. I think MVS got another drop. That's never going to be good for him going forward. Ever.
And I want to give the offense credit because, like Trevor mentioned earlier briefly, with 2 minutes left to go, game's over. The Chiefs, Clyde, the ball slips out. Obviously, it's like carrying a damn marble out there. It's so cold and the ball's rock solid. I know, Book, you probably understand that completely, man. The football out there is probably ridiculously hard and cold as hell in this type of weather. But
first of all, if I ever had a ball in any conditions, that's a great play by me. It's a turnover.
It's a part of the highlight of our introductory. So yeah, we know you've done it. We know you did it against the Broncos of all teams too.
Well, out of all my 56 years, almost 56 next month, that's the only time I ever had the football going that far.
And you lived it up too, man. You jumped in those stands and everything. You were living it up, man. But I want to ask this question too before we get out of here, man, because I think that this was so weird to me and Trevor. I actually got into a mini debate on Twitter with Robert Griffin III, who I actually really like, and I've had conversations with in the past. Really good dude. I think he's actually a very articulate guy too when it comes to breaking down football film. You know, former quarterback. These guys understand that stuff. But something I saw from him and like Chase Daniel and like some of these other former players was they were really on a bitch fest about this weather and how like the Chiefs and Dolphins game should have been canceled because it's too cold and the wind is going to be too strong. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, when did that become a thing that former players or current players or anything? I've never once heard that in my life. And I grew up here in Kansas City. So whenever the Chiefs were playing in the postseason growing up in January, we knew it was going to be cold as hell. Book, you played here in January during the 90s. You know it was cold as hell. I think that you guys played in one of the coldest games ever when the kicks were missed against the Colts. Like, that was a very cold game. But I didn't hear
Yeah.
people bitching about that back then. Now it's like, now the Bills for the second straight year get a game moved because of inclement weather, which I understand if it's going to be dangerous.
It's bad out there.
But this tonight I didn't feel like was something that was putting like lives at risk or that players weren't going to be able to perform. Because to me, as we've been talking for the last 30, 40 minutes, the Chiefs played one of their best games of the season as a whole. So what is it, man, that these guys are trying to say here? I don't really understand this narrative, Book.
Well, I think I can say it from the standpoint that I did experience those cold-ass games. And it's like a double-edged sword. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're on one side of it, it can change the whole dynamic of the game. And when I played up in Winnipeg, up in the Canadian League, and it's the coldest place I've ever been in my life, right? Even then, and then I go from Kansas City to Green Bay, and I was like in Green Bay, and they got on like mink coats, and I'm like in a vest. Like, this ain't cold to me.
Yeah.
Like, man, the climate can play a part into it. I knew that once we heard the temperature. Before that was even a consideration of being a factor of the game, I was still, of course, Kansas City was going to win the game, but I thought it would be a lot closer game if the factors of just temperature alone was just anything other than fucked up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we won this game. We won it convincingly. We got to ride this into next week. I thought we should have showed up way better than this offensively, because we're at the point that every time we play could be our last time. Why are you holding shit in the back? Bring it out. Let's win however we can win. Let's win this fucking game convincingly.
I don't disagree with any of that. And I agree with you because, like you said, you can't take anything for granted. I do believe that Andy Reid opened up the playbook a little bit tonight. I think it was shown because, like I said, the guys were getting it open in space, but it's the execution in the red zone that just continues to stall this offense. And here we are, man. This is the place I want us to be in. I want us to be sitting here talking about how the offense can be playing better when they're scoring in the mid to late 20s. Because what did we know about this offense going into the postseason? Scoring 22 points a game this season. That's way below the standard here in Kansas City when you have a $500 million quarterback that we know can lead an offense once his guys catch the damn ball and he gets a little bit of adequate protection from his tackles. And that's what happened tonight.
Yep.
Once you have guys that are creating plays with their feet and catching the ball, all of a sudden this offense can do things. So I agree with you, though, Book. They can play better. I would give this offense a solid B tonight. I think they definitely left some points on the board. I think they got jobbed a little bit from some bad calls. But I think overall this offense can play better, and that's a good thing because I actually think they can take it to the next level. And again, I think that they're gonna go wherever they go this next week. I think they're gonna feel pretty damn confident about what's gonna be taking place. I think that there's a really good chance that it's gonna be the Buffalo Bills. I think that they're gonna probably beat the Steelers this week. But here's the thing, guys. I've been saying this for weeks now. I don't believe this Bills team is going to be. I don't think they're a scary team. I think they've been begging to lose for a long time. In fact, I think the Steelers are going to have a legit shot of winning the game late tomorrow. Monday. I could be wrong though, and the Bills end up blowing them out. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. Even without T.J. Watt, I think that's going to be a close game. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, the Chiefs are going to feel really good going up into Orchard Park and taking on this Bills team because I think the Chiefs match up with them beautifully, and they're going to want that revenge because they knew they should have had that win against them several weeks ago. And I think they're going to do justice if that ends up happening. I'm really looking forward to that. I want to avoid C.J. Stroud more than anything. I told Trevor if I had a list of the teams the Chiefs could face or the quarterbacks they could face going through the playoffs, C.J. Stroud's the last one.
Man.
And I mean on both sides, NFC and AFC, because this kid, it doesn't matter who he's throwing the ball to. It's getting there. He's precise. He's scary. He's the only guy right now in the postseason that I can even compare to Patrick Mahomes.
Well, on top of that, D'Amico's got that defense.
Yes,
humming.
man. They're
He's
playing
got them
way
humming.
out. They're overachieving. So I don't want to get too ahead of it because, like I said, we need to celebrate this game tonight. We need to bask in this because, like I said, we don't need to take playoff wins lightly or take them for granted, even though we've now had, 12 of them with Patrick Mahomes. This is the 12th playoff win. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Chiefs now have more playoff wins in the Mahomes era than they had before Patrick Mahomes was their quarterback in their history. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that's the case now. I'll check that out after the show's over. The fact is, though, this truly is the golden era of Chiefs football. And as long as it's lasts, I'm going to enjoy every second of it. Will I be critical? Will we sit here and break this down about, how they need to play better? Yes, but because that's what we were supposed to do. We were supposed to keep things real, keep things 100, and that's what you guys want. That's why you guys tune into this show. We have former players like Book on this show because they're going to give us the insight from a player's perspective, and Trevor and I are going to give you just, two guys that have watched this team their entire lives, what we're seeing from this team, whether it's going to be fun or sometimes not so fun. We've had shows on here several times this year where we talked about losses and how frustrating those losses were because the Chiefs, more times than not, are going to beat themselves. Tonight, they didn't beat themselves, and that's why they're advancing into the postseason. They dominated the second best offense in the league for the second time this season, and happened to have Tyreek on there, and that feels good to Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, because although they're still friends, there's been a lot of shit that's been talked about them over the last year or two from Tyreek Hill, and for the Chiefs to get this justice to end Tyreek Hill's season, I think that's something that definitely makes them happy about it. Trevor, you got any other thoughts? Any chats that's going on at all?
I just wanted to touch on the defense a little bit more as far as they were absolutely incredible tonight. They were lights out. You had Nick Bolton, welcome back, doing his thing in the postseason, leading this team in tackles, 10 total tackles. And then, George Karlaftis maybe had the night of his career probably his best postseason game as a professional.
It's coming along, man.
He had 6 tackles and a sack and a half. George Karlaftis was one of those plays was out in coverage. It was a coverage tackle. That was incredible. L'Jarius Sneed and Trent McDuffie both had 4 tackles each. L'Jarius Sneed
was all over the
my goodness.
Bad man.
He put the clamps on Tyreek all night long, dude.
He's an all-pro in my book.
Two straight games.
They play Sneed, man. They play Sneed, bro.
Right. Snubbed. He was snubbed. He didn't even make the all-pro second team. It's madness.
Real quick, I don't want to interrupt Trevor here, but I think L'Jarius Sneed's the most underrated player in the NFL. Do you agree?
Absolutely, bro.
Yeah, it's madness.
Everybody I talk to, it's on paper. Every number.
It's on paper. It's on film.
Wide receiver he's come up against, he has good numbers against him.
Right.
For him not to be a Pro Bowl player, let alone an All-Pro player,
he didn't allow a touchdown. He didn't allow a touchdown this year. He didn't allow one touchdown.
Yeah.
And right after him is Buckner.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, no doubt.
Hell?
Yeah.
Come on, bro. This guy, how is he not top 2, if not number 1?
Right.
What the hell? Look at the paper. Look at the numbers.
Right. And I also want to give a.
You're gonna do that straight to my face?
I do want to give Mike Edwards. His flowers tonight too, though. He continues to own Tua turn the ball over. Hey, Tua turn the ball over, man. That
perfect name.
That's the name for him moving forward right now, because Mike Edwards, especially when Mike Edwards out there playing out, because that's the second forced turnover that Mike Edwards has been a part of against this offensive unit, and man, this defense was incredible.
76 rushing yards the Dolphins had tonight. 76.
Right.
Yeah, it's all right with me. And let me say this one final thing, guys, and I'm gonna hand it off to Book, because I know we got to get a prediction from you, no matter who they face.
Man, we ain't doing no Book.
Oh, I got Book. We've missed you, man. We got to get something.
But in playoffs, man.
You don't want to jinx it.
You don't want to jinx it.
Want the same shit.
I respect that.
I'll respect you on that. You know what I'll do? I'll just say this. That's fair. That's actually, I completely agree with that and respect it. I will say this. Tonight was a night that we need to give Brett Veach his flowers.
Yeah.
I've criticized the shit out of this man for one reason and one reason only, because otherwise I've been a big fan of his. I felt like he failed this wide receiver room, and I'll stand by that forever. And it's made this season so much harder than it needed to be. But if you look at the guys that made impact tonight, look at all the draft picks on that defensive side alone, mostly through that Tyreek Hill trade, that he went out there and just crushed ass on from selecting these guys. L'Jarius Sneed's a draft pick. Trent McDuffie trade up in the first round. George Karlaftis first round.
Shamari Connor getting a lot of reps tonight.
Shamari Connor was making impact plays. Drew Tranquill and Mike Edwards, two offseason acquisitions. Charles Omenihu making impact. Offseason acquisition. Then you're seeing on the offensive side, I don't think a lot of people remember this, but I'm going to keep reminding it every time I see it. Isaiah Pacheco was a 7th round pick. Think about that.
Yep.
This
one of
kid,
the best running backs in football right now.
who's easily one of the 10 best running backs in football,
Shit, top 8.
is a 7th-round running back. That people said, oh, he's fast, but this guy's never going to transition to anything legit in the NFL. And since day one has shown us, this dude will run through a damn wall if his coaches ask him. Sometimes he'll do it if you don't ask him to. He'll still run and run and run. You're seeing Brett Veach in full display. Oh, and by the way, guys, Rashee Rice, 2nd-round pick.
Broke out
who's
tonight.
becoming a star in front of our eyes.
Absolutely broke out tonight.
Doing his thing, man. Like these are positives we have to give Brett Veach respect for. I can sit here and crush him because it's easy sometimes to when it comes to some of the decisions he made at wide receiver for both back-to-back years, staying cheap at wide receiver. But everywhere else, this man has been killing it. He's been doing his job, and that's all you can ask. Do I like the way this team plays offensively all the time? No, but my God, did he build an elite defense? And because of that fact, this team is a legitimate Super Bowl contender once again.
I do want to give put this on real quick from our guy John Harrison. He said, "Since I'm a stat guy, here you go. This defense has only given up 120 second half points all year, 17 games. Today, 0. This is a championship defense. All the offense has to do is stay out of their own way, don't screw up, put up 20 points on the board. That's a fact, bro. That's a fact. That is a fact. Because if our defense, like I said, that's why I didn't have a problem with I know it sucks settling for field goals, but if we just go down there, get points on every drive, be efficient, have long drives, settling for points no matter what it is. If we force turnovers on defense, get points on those turnovers. Just let their defenses do the job, bro. This defense is elite. This is a championship caliber defense. I couldn't agree with you more, John.
And to John Harrison's point, the Chiefs are now 9-0 this season when they score 21 or more points. 9-0. So that's 100% it. I'm not saying just score 21 and then put the playbook in the bag. I'm saying you get to 21 points, the Chiefs are going to win the game 100% of the time.
That's
100%
pretty good odds.
Yes. So I like I said, I know the Ravens look scary, but they got to play the Texans. And I think more than likely they're going to play the Texans. They're more than likely going to play the Texans.
I do want to bring up another thing. John brings up another thing we didn't touch on yet, which I'm surprised because it was a first for me. Nobody brought this up. When was the last time you saw a QB scramble, run, lowers his head, hits the defenders trying to score a touchdown, and breaks his fucking helmet? That play was great. That shows you how cold it was outside, though. We got helmets out there
Patrick
shattering.
hated that backup helmet, too.
Bro,
he hated it.
yeah.
He could fit his noggin in that thing, dude. Something about it, he was just pissed.
But that's the first for me.
Comfortable.
I've never seen nothing like that before. A helmet
before.
shattering. That just shows you how cold it was.
It was amazing, man.
Hey, I told my girl that. I was like, babe, in all my years since I was 6 and played football, I've never seen a piece of a helmet go across the street.
Right.
And I was wondering.
I thought it was a mouthpiece.
I was sitting there like, are the refs going to get him out of the game real quick to make him change? Because if, let's say, like a defender swipes his arm around that and gets cut, he's going to gash him wide open.
Right.
Because that stuff had jagged shit all over it.
I don't think Pat even knew it broke.
He didn't.
Yeah, he didn't know.
I'll tell you what, the refs didn't know what to do. That is nowhere
it's
in
a
the
first.
NFL guidebook.
Right.
Nowhere.
And Mike Tirico was getting all mad. He's like, oh, this is surprising that they let him stop the game for an equipment exchange. I'm like, you do realize that this is an unforeseen. Yeah, it's like an unforeseen situation. What are you going to do? Get mad at the refs for trying to protect
Cut to the visor commercial.
Because even Tirico's like, oh, well, I get player, safety. I'm like, then you should have stopped right there.
Yeah.
You should have stopped right there, bro, because that's all it was about. It wasn't to help the Chiefs, because what it really did is it helped the Dolphins substitute guys in and out on their defense, so it really helped both teams. I don't understand what the bitching about was, but all I do know, guys, is the Chiefs are moving on in the divisional round. We don't know for sure who they're going to play. We have a good idea of who the Chiefs are going to play. I don't want to hear all week long, if it does go the way it does, that the Chiefs are going to finally play a true road game, because that's not the facts at all.
Right.
Because they did play a true road game in the Super Bowl against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. That was a road game.
It was a home game.
So this is this would be the second road game in the Patrick Mahomes era. I think this team's ready. I think whoever's going to be in their way come next week, whenever that is, and just for the record book, I hope it's the Bills. Trevor hopes it's the Bills, and I think you do too. Not just from a revenge factor.
The Bills, definitely.
Yeah,
yes, not just from a revenge factor, but here's the thing: we got to remember this. And our producer from the Spoken, Clay Windler, brought this up earlier right before the game. If the Chiefs end up playing the Bills because of the delay now that the Bills have by moving from Sunday to Monday, that gives the Chiefs 2 additional days on the Bills for both rest and getting ready for the game preparation. So that's a humongous advantage, especially for the Chiefs, who've been a team for the last 2 months that have been always on the other end of it, where they've been getting fewer days of rest, and the other team comes in more rested and more prepared. So this would be a nice little twist of fate for the Chiefs against the Bills.
Especially with the Bills coming off of what's going to be a grimy, cold, wintry, snowy game against the Steelers, who are going to grime them up. Who knows how healthy they're going to be coming out of that match if they do win.
They're already banged up.
Yeah, man. So that's a big advantage for the Chiefs, and I'll take it.
So, yeah, we're not going to get a prediction from our guy Book. I'm just glad Book's here with us tonight. We've missed him over the last couple of shows. It's been kind of crazy because he's back. That's all that matters. Book is back. That's all we know. That's all that matters. We've had an incredible time talking football again. It feels like we haven't done this forever as a trio, but the trio is back, damn it. Chatting up the Chiefs is fun as always. We appreciate everybody that's been a part of this the entire way, but guys, we ain't done.
Nope.
We ain't done. The Chiefs are keeping things going, and we're going to keep things going because we're having a blast every single time. If you guys have not already done it, get on start. Yeah, go, Book.
I know when my last week is when we lose. That'll be my last show, motherfucker.
Hey, the show goes on, baby.
Yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen. Let's hope the Chiefs end this season with a dub, man. Let's hope that's the case. Because I would love to do a Super Bowl show with you, Book. We haven't done that yet, man. That'd be an absolute blast. But you know what? It's a blast no matter what happens, man, because we got a good thing going here. We appreciate the Starcade Media family. We appreciate all of you guys. Make sure and subscribe to all the shows that we have here. We have some great shows here. Trevor and I have the Spoken Podcast. We have the Chattin of the Chiefs right here. We have Arrowhead Allies every Tuesday night with Shaggy, Shane, Clint, Noah, and all those guys. Make sure that you guys stay attached to what we do here. There's some other great shows outside of our network. Highly recommend them as well. Chief Concerns, All Chiefed Up, some really good shows out there. There's good content out there, guys. But we love it every single week when you guys hang out with us after every single game. And we will be back here in 1 week's time. So I hope you guys are ready. Enjoy this victory. Enjoy this time. Sit back. Enjoy football tomorrow because it's going to be stress-free. Because now we're just going to sit back and wait and see who the Chiefs' next victim's going to be. So in the meantime, for Book, the great Book, 9-year NFL veteran, Book that's been all over this damn map, and he said it's cold as shit in Kansas City. Yeah. For Trevor Twidwell, for the entire Starcade Media family, thank you all. Chiefs advance. Chiefs survive. We have another show coming up next week. We'll see you then. This is Chattin of the Chiefs Postgame Show. Adios.
Cheetah out. Let's go, baby.